I'm live. If it is working fine from your side, please let me know. We'll just start the session in few minutes. Okay. I can see it's going fine and you guys are here. Great, guys. So let's start the session now. I'll just come to your doubts one by one. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आप सभी को मैं बताना चाहूँगी कि हम लोग मॉडर्न इंडियन हिस्ट्री की एक सीरीज़ कर रहे हैं एंड इन दिस सीरीज़ वी आर डूइंग द स्पेक्ट्रम बुक, राइट? एंड स्पेक्ट्रम को चैप्टर वाइज वर्ड टू वर्ड कवर कर रहे हैं. वी हैव कवर्ड फ्यू क्लासेस, मंडे टू फ्राइडे हमारे सेशंस रहे. वी हैव completed 5 classes and in these 5 classes we completed 5 chapters. So I want you guys to ask questions from those 5 chapters which we covered. If you don't have any doubt, then we can just revise those 5 chapters in the session and then we'll see that if there is anything needed, जैसे कोई topic ऐसा है जो आपको repetitively चाहिए, or if you want to discuss something, तो आप बात कर सकते हैं. This is a doubt clearing session. So here we are live to discuss doubts, because what happens in the offline session, you get a chance to meet your teacher and you have enough time to discuss your doubts. But in the live class or in general sessions, sometimes students को उतना time नहीं मिलता. And later on when they revise the book or when they do the self study, they feel that there is something lacking and then they have a list of doubts to be discussed. So that's why this session is there, and we will plan something like this every weekend, Saturday or Sunday, to have a ask me anything session or something like doubt clearing session. One more point is that in case you have any other doubt which is not related to history but maybe related to your preparation journey, in case you have any problem, if you face anything like that, if you are facing any issue, then still you can discuss that with me today, because we are here to solve all your queries, doubts, and in case there is any point of inconsistency or demotivation and if there is anything in which you feel like struggling, then we have this responsibility to get you out of it and help you out so that you learn things in a better way and you write your answers in a better way. So कोई भी आपका सवाल है, means answer writing, then preparation, books, anything which you feel like discussing, now you can discuss that with me and we'll just do a small session, ज़्यादा लंबा नहीं करेंगे, a small session. And first of all, before we start, I have a question. Please let me know which particular subject are you studying right now. If you have started your self study, तो अभी आप क्या पढ़ रहे हैं? Which book are you studying? Is there any chapter with which you have started, or is there something which you want to start? Let me know, because accordingly I'll get some ideas that what exactly you guys want, or if you want we can revise few chapters, मतलब जो हमने अभी तक cover किए, that chapters we can revise. Those of you who have just joined, kindly like the session. Please like and share the video, and you need to like and share the playlist also, the Modern Indian History playlist which we have prepared, right? Kindly go for it. Fine. So now one by one I'll come to your questions. Please ask your doubts, guys. Meanwhile, I'll just revise the last content for you, because जब तक doubts नहीं है तब तक हम लोग revision कर सकते हैं. And once revision is done, then we can discuss the doubts. जो भी live doubts हमारे आ जाएंगे उसको हम लोग एक एक करके discuss करेंगे. So as you know that we have started the Spectrum series for modern Indian history. Meanwhile, I have asked you a question that आपने क्या chapter start किया है पढ़ना, वो आपको बताना है in the comments, right? Because I need to know that what exactly you guys are doing nowadays. Yes, good evening, SB, good evening, guys. Okay. I can see Vinod have written that you are part of GS CSAT prelims combo and you have started for economy today. That's very nice. And economy may I'll suggest that if you are doing economy, don't waste a lot of time in the factual study. Why I asked you this question is that if I know that what exactly are you doing right now, जैसे आप कुछ पढ़ रहे हो, तो I have this experience of 7 years that I can guide you कि अगर आप अभी ये वाली book पढ़ रहे हो तो इसमें ये गलती मत करना. तो as I can see we note that आपने ये पूछा है कि you know you are a part of the GSC set prelims combo and Vinod Kumar you have started with the economy. So I suggest that with economy don't waste a lot of time in reading the books and gathering a lot of factual content and detail in your mind. The most important point with the economy is the current affairs. So have a small static book, like there is a book of Sanjeev Verma that you can, if you want, you can refer to Sunya's material. That is also fine. If you want, you have few other books static content ke liye. So just go for that and have just one book. And instead of focusing a lot on the factual details and mugging up the content in economy, I feel like you should take care on the current affairs part or the application based economy which is happening right now, right? And the most important part is the latest budget and economic survey. Whenever you give the prelims from that particular time, you need to see that what is the latest budget and economic survey. Just try to read it. Okay. Next question I can see by Akshaj Sefia. Akshay Sapahiya. Your question is that are the later Mughals to be covered in detail as we cover Mughal Sultanate? See, later Mughals, we don't need to cover it in detail. Why? Because they had no role in the history. But if you remember, I have covered it with you. We don't need to go in much detail. Why? Because see, with the modern Indian history part, we also need to see the cost ratio, that how much the opportunity is there. So just understand that the most important part in the modern Indian history is the Gandhian era. So you need to focus more on that. Okay, the Gandhian era is extremely important. The time period Gandhi ji ka hai. Before that, few important points are there like socio-religious reform movement, the revolt before the 1857 in which a lot of civil uprising and tribal uprisings were there in India. That is still important. But if you focus a lot in the later Mughal part, I think that is not beneficial because we don't get a lot of questions in prelims and mains from that part. So for a brief point, we have already covered it and you can do it till then. Up to the part of the, starting chapters like chapter 1, 2, 3, it's not that important in the spectrum. That's what I was discussing with you, that we have started with this series. The first chapter was about the sources, in which we covered that how we can study the modern Indian history, like what kind of sources are there. So there the most important source was archives, right? Archives. So in the archives we see that there are many official records. Archives means a written set of documents which was which is a historical document, and it was written to just preserve a official data on day to day basis. So we have private archives, we have foreign repositories, we have public archives. In public archives, we have government archives like the three presidencies of Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta had their own offices and judicial records. So that is the government archive. In the personal archives, or if you talk about the private archives, there we get the individual letters, diaries, and things maintained by the most important leaders of India at the individual level. Then we have foreign repositories like Record Office of Lahore, Record Office in London, or museums. They all are foreign repositories. So we have archives. Other than archives, we have unofficial records like poem, literature, right? Paintings. So many other sources are there. So if you look at those sources, you will know that how the modern Indian history be. Okay, that is the first point. Now After this first chapter, we covered the approaches. So we saw that there are many ways to have a perspective on the modern Indian history, in which two most important approaches are colonial approach, supported by James Mill, Vincent Smith, and so many other European writers, and opposite to this one is the nationalist approach, right? Nationalist approach. So in the nationalist approach, what we covered was that how it came as an opposition, how it used to oppose the colonial approach. So in the colonial approach, they used to say that Britishers, they really did civilize Indians. They came here to civilize. They had a white man burden on them. They used to follow the Pax Britannica. There was an Orientalist version and a perception in their mind, and that's why they came to India. So ultimately, they felt like having a British rule in a big part of the world will bring peace to the world and the economy, and that's why they just came to India. However, they looted us, of course, but they have a lot of things to say that they led to a lot of developmental activities in India. But in the nationalist approach, we see a reply that they always did something for their own selfish reason. Whatever development was there, or whatever discussion and points to be concerned are there by the colonial approach or the colonial writers, that is just for their own selfish development. They just wanted to penetrate into the villages of India. They wanted to use the raw material of India, and they wanted India to be served as their market base of finished goods coming from the British industries. So these answers came. Apart from this, we have a Marxist approach, we have a subaltern approach, neoliberal approach, Cambridge School, and then we have a feminist approach also, in which the feminist point of view is there. So we covered all these approaches. So these two chapters are not that important. Then you come to the third chapter, in which you talk about the arrival of Europeans, right? Arrival of Europeans, in which we covered about the Portuguese, French, Dutch, Danes, English, and we saw that how Britishers defeated all of them ultimately. And then in the fourth chapter, we covered about the British expansion and consolidation in India, in which we discuss how the East India Company conquered different parts of India, and how they used to fight, like Anglo-Maratha War, Anglo-Afghan War, Sikh War, and so many wars were there. We also discussed about the neighboring countries of India, Anglo-Nepal, Anglo-Bhutan War, and then we covered about the Anglo-Burma War. So we covered all those wars, Anglo wars, right? EIC wars, Anglo wars. So all the Anglo wars we covered in the fourth one, right? Then we came to the last part yesterday, in which we discussed about the foreign relations and how Britishers used to take care of their subsidiary alliance doctrine of lapse. We discussed a lot about Raja Ranjit Singh also, right? So till now we have a good command on these five chapters. I feel like these two chapters are more fine to be discussed, and there the role of later Mughals is not that important. We just need to go into uh, you know surface level of part where a basic understanding needs to be there, which we have already covered. If you remember, I have covered all the later Mughals with you. So if you're watching the lessons carefully and regularly, you'll get a good point, right? Now I'll just come to the next doubt. Yes, SB, that's very great that you focus after the revolt of 1857. That's what is needed. But please understand that there could be a mistake that before the revolt of 1857, we still have three chapters which are very, very important. First is the arrival of Europeans. Second is the people's resistance against the British rule before 1857, in which you see a lot of civil uprisings, tribal uprisings. And third is socio-religious reform movement. That chapter is also important. So don't miss these chapters. Okay. Now I'm coming to the next question. There is a question that, ma'am, please guide us the necessary, what is necessary to cover in the NCERT history in UPSC 2024. See, about NCERT, I'll say that the 11th class and 12th class NCERT is very, very important. So, if you talk about NCERT, first of all, before reading NCERT, please read the Tamil Nadu history book of class 11th and 12th. That is very important. Tamil Nadu board, and it is in English medium, but it's a very simple and easy English. Okay, you would be able to cover it. If we talk about NCERT, 6th to 12th, you need to read the new NCERT. But if I talk about the important one, important NCERTs that you'll find in 11th and 12th only. Okay, 11th and 12th. If I just give you the names of authors, then for ancient history, R.S. Sharma. For medieval history, Satish Chandra. Okay. For modern history, you have Bipin Chandra. But all these three NCERTs are there in class 11th old NCERT. So if you have class 11th old NCERT book, then you will find these three authors. But in case you don't have the old version, don't worry, there is no issue. Just go and buy these three authors, and you'll get the books by Oxford or Penguin publication. I don't remember the name of the publication, but it is available on Amazon. So you just buy it from there and you can then read it. However, Sunya's material is the best one. We all know that how it is and how it works. So if you get anything from Sunya, if the material is available on the store, I feel like you should purchase that one, because for history that is best. And I have also given a lot of notes from my own classes. So I feel like it is going to be very, very useful. But still, even after the material, if you want to have more confidence, if you want to do some more self study, for that you can have a standard book for each and every part of history. One for ancient, one for medieval, one for modern, one you can take for art and culture like Nitin Singhania. Take one for world history like V.V. Rao, or Arjun Dev, or any of the coaching material for the modern world. That also you can take. Like, just remember that post independence and modern world history, it will only come in mains, not in prelims. Okay, post independence and modern world history will only come in mains. Fine. Coming to the next question. Okay, Vinod, you have written that my concern is that teacher is teaching in Hindi. Would it like to take this knowledge of teacher? And I'm worried rest of the classes will also be most. However, we don't do that with Sun, because we have more English medium learners with us. So I feel that you should raise this concern if you're not comfortable with that language. For Hindi classes and for bilingual classes, we have a separate batch. Okay, so just check if you joined any bilingual batch by mistake or a Hindi batch by mistake, because we generally don't do this. However, we may do it in the YouTube class, or some of the sessions in short videos or something like that. But generally, in the paid batches, we have a different batch for Hindi and English medium and bilingual students. Just check it again, we know. Next question is by Chirag Sharma. Ma'am, I have covered PYQs of history. Can I skip the sectional test of history? I think you should not skip the sectional test. Uh, Try to give it if you have time. But it's fine that you have covered PYQs, but you don't understand the coverage, the difference between coverage and really attempting something. When you sit for the test, and when there is a time limit, when there is a foundation on you, you perform really well. And it's a best way to revise things. And you get some new ideas also, a new version of the question where the questions are framed in a different way. So I think for a revision and a practice, it would be a great thing, Chirag. So if you have time, kindly dedicate it towards your sectional test of history also. Okay. Next question is by Salil Jain. Salil Jain, the question is that, ma'am, why the revolt of 1857 was not nationwide? See, first of all, the revolt was not planned. It happened suddenly without any organization. There was no central government in India during the revolt of 1857. If we talk about Punjab, we have already discussed Anglo-Sikh War. After the second Anglo-Sikh War, Sikhs were defeated and Britishers started something new in Punjab. There in the Sikh Empire, they just established a commissioner, right? The first commissioner of that Sikh area or the Punjab area was John Lawrence. So John Lawrence ensured this, that Punjab is not participating in revolt of 1857. So many moneylenders, big zamindars, they helped Britishers, and they thought that Europeans will win this war and ultimately they will reward us later. So that's why they were also not joining the war. If we talk about South India, due to geographical locations and communication problems, it was not able to come with the great effort, because there was no touch with the local leaders or local rulers at that time. So a miscommunication, a point where there is no organization or planning before fight, before attack, led to this problem, and that's why it could not become a pan India revolt. But it was successful enough to sow the seeds of nationalism in India, and we also got a good idea that what kind of mistakes should be avoided, and if later we start any national movement, then what should be the approach in that movement. So because of that, I feel that it could not become a nationwide revolt, but it gave us a feeling of nationalism. I hope your doubt is clear. Coming to the next question, Kunal Verma, you have asked that, ma'am, please tell how to read spectrum and make notes of it or follow coaching method. See, we have a notes with us in Sunya IAS. I feel like that is the best notes for spectrum or any other standard book. I'll just show. Just give me. This is the book, guys. You can see this. You can take a screenshot. The book. Uh, we have around 100 pages in this book, and within 100 pages, the entire spectrum and Bipin Chandra is combined. It's a part of our Brahmastras, and it's a very good book. There, if you just read these 100 pages, it is enough to crack prelims. And if you read it with details, if you can read the things between the lines and if you can analyze it, then it's enough for mains also. So it's a great book, it's a great purchase and very easy to buy from Sunya's coaching. Just go for it, and then you don't need to make any notes if you have this material. Otherwise, after reading spectrum, you can make the notes in the third reading with flowcharts. Okay, it should be in the flowcharts and it should be in small pointers. But those flowcharts and pointers and tables are there in this book. If you don't want to waste your time and if you want to have a ready-made notes, then you can just purchase this book. Otherwise, you can just simply make your own notes by reading and revising the book again and again. After third reading, you can make it in the flowchart way, and with flowcharts, you would be able to revise it. However, I suggest that if you make your own notes, that would be great. Okay, but my suggestion is that sometimes if you have a good note, a good material, then you should just purchase it and don't waste your time. Focus, like, read the book and then read the notes. It is a ready-made note. That is fine. Okay. Now coming to the next question, Anant Anantramukra, okay, Anant Ram Kumar. There is a question by you that, ma'am, how to cover entire UPSC syllabus in 1 year? Okay, I'll just give you a 1 year table for that, and then you can just place it whenever you start your study. Just give me a moment. SV, your question is, ma'am, please guide us on how to make best short notes for history for any of the book to make notes. Just read it, 3 times, and on the third revision you can make it in a flowchart way. So have your notes in pointers and flowcharts. That's the best strategy. Okay. Kumar Prafull. Kumar Prafull, you have a question that, ma'am, can the UPSC exam be postponed because Lok Sabha election on 25th and the paper is on 26th? I don't feel so, but just wait for the notification. Like notification is already there, but let's wait for their own, examination. What you get before examination, that admit card and all. Wait for it. But I don't feel like there would be anything like post or something like that. I have no idea about it. So now I'm coming to the question about that 1 year timetable. How many of you want me to discuss a 1 year timetable for UPSC? It is not for 2024, first of all, not for 25. It may be helpful for 24 aspirants, may be more helpful for 25, and can be good for 26 also. I'll just make a 1 year timetable for you. But ensure this that you follow this timetable very religiously. And 1 year means 1 year. Okay, it doesn't mean that you keep skipping things, and uh, if you will follow different strategy and if you'll get confused with so many other advices, it will be a waste of time for everyone. So don't do that. Follow one thing at a time, and just try to mix the strategy with your own ideas, with your own comfort and understanding. So I'll make a timetable for prelims and mains both, because I feel like both are important, and it should never be about prelims, because the goal is not to crack prelims, but the goal is to crack the entire exam. So I'll discuss the strategy for both. If you have 1 year, first of all, divide this 1 year into two parts: 6 months, 6 months. Okay, make it clear. You just divide the entire 1 year into two parts. First 6 months, prepare the foundation and static. Means all the standard books plus NCERT should be covered. Okay. So for the first 6 months, all you need to do is complete a good, you know, foundation and have a good idea of your static content. Complete all your standard books and NCERT book. Once you cover entire syllabus and the static portion is good with you, then you can go for your optional current affairs, mains answer writing, and okay, I hope you just understood this part. This is clear. 6 months, 6 months. Why have we have divided the 1 year timetable into 6 and 6? Do you agree with this? If you are preparing for more than 1 year, you will understand the point what I'm saying. Those of you who are senior aspirants, and if you are preparing for more than 1 year, tell me, is it a nice idea or not? First 6 months completely dedicated to make a good foundation, a rock solid foundation, a rock solid base. And then 6 months to have a good understanding on optional current affairs. If you have a weak CSAT, then work on it. Practice more. Do mains answer writing practices. Do revision. And to give your best in test series. What say? See, there should be a logic behind everything. If you are making a timetable, it should be a reasonable timetable. It should be a logical timetable. I'll not make a timetable like okay January ऐसे just ये सब पढ़ लो फिर February में ये पढ़ लो. No, you already know this. There are so many videos like this. Then there is nothing unique, right? There would be nothing unique in my strategy. So I feel like first divide this. Now, if we come to this one first, like this one, if you have only 6 months to cover all the books, then how can you do it? First of all, if you can do it, is it really possible? The answer is yes. So, is it possible if you study for 10 to 12 hours daily? No, not like that. At least 8 hours. So, this 1 year timetable is only and only sustainable if you study 8 hours daily. Otherwise, this timetable is of no use. Okay? It is of no use if you can't study for 8 hours daily. I don't want to make anything fake, like, giving you fake promises or making fake promises and giving you a timetable which is something which is a dreamy timetable and you could not follow it, then there's no use of that strategy, right? So I'll just come to that. Kunal Verma, you have asked that, ma'am, I give 2 hour for revision and 5 hour for uh, 2 GS and 2 hour for newspaper. Is it enough for daily routine? Yes, it is fine, but when you are having that 2 hour for revision, no, there you should also have a practice of revision plus test. Like revision without solving questions would be of no use. So with revision, sometimes you should also solve few questions. Then this routine will really work for you, and try to add optional also in this routine after you complete the GS static. Okay, after you complete the GS static. I hope Kunal your doubt is clear. Fine. Now let's come back to this discussion. If you have 6 months, okay, to complete the foundation and static, then how should you start? Let's say there is a student, very, naive, innocent, unknown of the facts and things, and a fresher. Okay, so this is a journey from fresher to officer. So here, a fresher, how would he start? Let's say first month. I'll not write January because January, February, I'll not write like that because maybe the first month could be for you April or maybe it is July for you, whatever it is. I don't know. But whenever you start, the first month should be dedicated to the Tamil Nadu history book of class 11th and 12th. Tamil Nadu history book of class 11th and 12th. And polity NCERT 6 to. Why? Because see, when you read two subjects, feel good. You have something to switch your mind and be, you'll also get some time to take care of your, personal things and to enjoy the study more. You read two subjects simultaneously. Now, these two subjects will help you to get a good idea of history. Like if you're preparing for civil services, you are doing something for you, to serve your country and to make good policies for the country. So first of all, it's very important to know the country, that what is real country is, what is the real India. So if you want to know something, you need to understand the background. Let's say you meet someone for the very first time. What do you ask? That what is the background? What's your background? From where do you belong? Or uh, you know where was what was the place of your birth, or when were you born, or from which school you did your schooling, from which college you passed out. You know someone by asking these questions only about their past. Don't ask the questions related to their future. You want to know someone, and if you're meeting for very first time, you will ask about their past experiences and their past things. So that's why to know your country and make policies for it and to be a future of your country, to know the past. So to have a better understanding, we'll start from history. After reading the Tamil Nadu history book of class 11th and 12th, you'll have a good idea about the ancient medieval India, art and culture, and also the part of modern history and world history. After completing polity NCERT, you'll get a good idea of your political scenario in the country, and is it the civil services, this job is very much related to policy making and polity, and civil servants like serving the government. So will be knowing the government, how it is formed, how it works, how the constitution is and all. So I think the first month should be very light. It should be dedicated to with this 5 years PYQs of all the subjects. लास्ट 5 years, पिछले 5 साल के जो भी PYQs आपके प्रीलिम्स एंड मेंस, आप उसको बस पढ़ो. ओनली रीड, जस्ट रीड दिस, नथिंग एल्स. सिर्फ पढ़ना है, so that you analyze and know that what kind of questions are there. Then come to the second month. The second month, try to cover the new set of your NCERT books, in which eco and geography and history NCERT should be covered. 6 to 12th. Okay, 6 to 12th. For eco, you can do from 9 to 12th also, if you have a good economy base, if you know about economy, if you feel like you understand economy nicely, then from 9 to 12th you can read economy. And there is one more NCERT, biology class 12th only. Biology class 12th. Okay, so this is for the first month, this is for the second month. Now you have covered all the NCERT. Now 3, 4, 5, 6, these 4 months should be for your textbooks. Okay, standard books like Lakshmikant, R.S. Sharma, Satish Chandra, Vipin Chandra, Nitin Singhania, Nish Singh, whatever is there with you. If you are following the Sunya's coaching well, then you can follow it subject wise. So 4 months it will take to complete all the standard books, because we have around 10 standard books, and I assume that you know the names of those 10 standard books. If you don't know, I'll just just repeat the names again. For polity, it is Lakshmikant. For history, R.S. Sharma, Satish Chandra, Spectrum. Then Nitin Singhania for art and culture, and any coaching material for world history you can take. And for science and technology and economy also, I'll suggest you any of the coaching material will work for you. Uh, then if you talk about the standard books for geography, you can read Majid Hussain, okay? India and World Geography by Majid Hussain, and just try to cover two more standard books as per your preference, which be related to the subject in which you feel you are weak in, or take coaching materials for the same. So how will you do it in 4 months? Because 4 months and more than 10 standard books are going to be there with you. Even if you follow a coaching material, still there would be around 10 books, to complete it. So in 4 months, complete these 10 books. The strategy is to, if it is a thin book or a medium sized book, then give it only 1 week. Okay, 1 week. Like this book, if it is a book of 100 or 150 page, then it will take only 1 week. It is very thin. Okay, simple, easy book. But if it is a book like Lakshmikant, then you should give it 15 days. 15 days for Lakshmikant, 15 days for Nitin Singhania, because Nitin Singhania is very factual. So, you should have a deadline in your mind. If you'll not have the deadline, then you'll just read the book on and on and on, and continuously you'll waste your 2-3 months in just completing and finishing one book. So, just give yourself a deadline that I have this book, I'll just complete it in 1 week or within 10 days. If not in 10 days, if it is too thick and if there are so many pages and details, then only 15 days. Giving more than 15 days to a standard book is a very bad strategy. It's like you're not following the deadline and the timetable nicely. Okay. Once you do it, then in this 6 months part, the next phase, in the second phase, what you need to do is by this time you must decide the optional. So start giving your optional daily 2 to 3 hours. Okay. If you are taking coaching, then fine. Again, you should try to revise the current affair if you are preparing for this particular year. It, like if you need to give the prelims, then for last 6 months you can rely on the you know, monthly magazines or something like that, because you don't get to understand the newspaper if you have not completed the static books. If you are struggling with the Hindu newspaper and if you feel like wasting a lot of time in making the current affair notes, it means that you have not completed the NCERTs and basic standard books. As you don't have any idea about your country and details, that's why you don't understand the news and you don't get interest in the news. So after 6 months only you'll get the interest. So to develop that interest in the current affair and to understand the real strategy of current affair, cover all these books first. Okay, now you need to read the newspaper daily and make your own notes. Try to make it. If you are not able to make, then you can just follow any monthly magazine from any of the coaches. Then come to the mains answer writing. Daily write one answer, at least one answer daily. Like now the question is from which particular book should you start or from where. Whatever book you are following, like at that time, let's say you are following history, then you read a question from that particular topic, take a PYQ or join a test series and write at least one question, one answer daily. Then you need to do the revision, revise these books, okay, all these books again, because at least 2 3 readings are important, and then only you'll remember the facts. You need to revise this again. To give yourself enough time to revise the books again, and I will wish that in the first reading you will underline the points and you'll know that what is important and what is not. Now focus more on test series, solving MCQ, solving P. So by following all these things, you will be able to cover the entire syllabus within 1 year, and just apply this idea in your own timetable, make it for yourself, and you will realize that once you take one step or few steps in this journey, you will get the idea of 100 more steps. But if you'll not take the first step, if you'll just be afraid of starting things and taking a lot of advices on daily basis, it will confuse you regularly, and that confusion will only increase. Okay, so just try not to confuse yourself and follow just one strategy, and that should be customized by yourself. You can only customize things for you. You can only know that what exactly is needed and when it is needed. Nobody else can make a timetable for you. Fine. Thank you so much, Infinite Heart, for your beautiful comment. Uh, okay. There is one question from Suman that, ma'am, are you former UPSC aspirant and do you teach other subject apart from history? No, Suman. I have been teaching history and it's my subject. I have been studying it and I'm teaching it since last 7 years. And other than history, I have taken few more subjects. Sometimes I feel like teaching geography because it is also very much near to my heart. But history is the main subject in which I'm dealing right now. And with history, the GS part, I'll also take the history optional. So here for history, you can always follow me. Okay. SB, your question is how can you connect with me? You can connect with me the Sunya's platform. You can join me from Telegram, and there we have the pages and groups. So there we can create a group also. Once we will have a good base of learners from this UTs, we'll make a separate group, and then we can interact on Telegram by that. Fine. Okay. So I hope the doubts are clear now. Fine. If you have any more doubts, you can ask the question, because see guys, if you'll not ask the doubt, then I'll just end the session, because I have completed this discussion on 1 year timetable. I told you that what we have covered till now. If you don't remember, I'll just, switch on to the content which we have done till now, just to make you understand. And in case you feel like discussing it again, you can stop me there and let me know if any topic needs to be repeated. So we covered about later Mughals. I hope you remember that how we covered this. Yes. So we discussed how the, Battle of Plassey was there in 1757, and then the Battle of Buxar was there in 1764. After the Battle of Buxar, Britishers got the Diwani rights. So for that, they had signed this Treaty of Allahabad. There, they decided that Shah Alam II will serve as a rubber stamp, and they will use this Mughal ruler to just, decide their own policies. Let's say they need to, give some orders or to make more profit if they want to create something. What they will do, they will have a document made and they will make a stamp of Mughal on it by, using Shah Alam II, and it would be decided that okay, in this entire nation, or in this entire part of India, this new circular is going to be followed. So it was the strategy to increase the profit. Okay, so Britishers just made this treaty, and then we understood about the dual government in Bengal, which was quite confusing because Nizamat functions were there and the Fauzdari functions were there. So here, the Deputy Subedar was appointed, and this Deputy Subedar, sometimes he was having the responsibility without any power, and Britishers never shared any power with anyone. Then we discussed the Anglo-Mysore War, in which we had four Anglo-Mysore wars. The first two wars, Britishers were defeated, but in the last two wars, Britishers will gain the victory. So, in the first Anglo-Mysore War, we see that the rise of Hyder Ali was there. Hyder Ali was the commander in chief, and he was just maintaining the Dindigul fort. But in the first Anglo-Mysore War, we see that Britishers made a secret alliance with Marathas and Nizam, but Hyder Ali neutralized them and got victory in the first Anglo-Mysore War. The second Anglo-Mysore War, we see that Tipu Sultan started the continuation of the war after the death of Hyder Ali in 1782 cancer, and then Tipu Sultan led the war, and again he got the victory. In the third Anglo-Mysore War, Tipu Sultan will lose half of his territory, and 3 crore rupees of war indemnity was imposed on him. But in the fourth Anglo-Mysore War, Tipu Sultan completely lost the Mysore, and he died defending his capital, Srirangpatnam. Okay. Then we completed Marathas, that how Marathas were used during the Anglo-Mysore Wars. So took a discussion on this Peshwa dynasty, that after Shah was released, Balaji Vishwanath helped him to regain the throne. After Balaji Vishwanath, Baji Rao I became the next Peshwa. Then Balaji Baji Rao became the next Peshwa. Then Madhav Rao I, and then Narayan Rao. But Narayan Rao was killed by Raghunath Rao. After Raghunath Rao, Baji Rao too became the new Peshwa. So this Peshwaship was going on, and we saw that how, due to the family politics and internal struggles, the Peshwa problem got started. And here we saw that how Maratha family was divided into different chiefs under their own in different areas. So we covered about Anglo-Maratha supremacy. In the first Anglo-Maratha war, Raghunath Rao signed the Treaty of Surat, which was cancelled by the Treaty of Purandar. But still, the war was not ending. So ultimately, they had to sign a new treaty, which was the Treaty of Salbai. After the Treaty of Salbai, Britishers got a lot of parts and important shares in the taxation, but they wanted to have a peace for 20 years, as they wanted to focus on Mysore, and East India Company could not handle two wars simultaneously in South India. So they decided to have peace with Marathas and do something against Mysore with the help of Marathas. So then, after the Treaty of Salbai, there was a peace for 20 years. But in the Second Anglo-Maratha War, again we see that Britishers, they got the opportunity to penetrate and interfere in the family matters when Baji Rao II, the son of Raghunath Rao, signed the Treaty of Bassein. After signing this Treaty of Bassein, Britishers got a lot of rights because it was a kind of subsidiary alliance, and then it was a decision that it served India as a platter in front of Britishers. But in the third Anglo-Maratha war, we see that Bajirao too realized his mistake. Family members came together to decide things again and do something to save the Maratha Confederacy, but it was already too late, and they all were defeated and different respective treaties were signed. So we have already covered this much of part. In the Sindh, we also saw that Sindh initially was trying to defend itself, but later on it became the protectorate of Britishers because there was a possible Franco-Russian invasion. So conquest of Sindh we covered. And in case you have missed any of the classes, guys, I request you to watch it in the playlist. The playlist is already updated. We have already covered it in a very good detail. So you just need to watch that. And to revise things, it's very easy on YouTube because you have an option to revise it in 2 plus speed, right? So 2 times you can increase the speed and watch it very quickly. Then we discussed about Raja Ranjit Singh, who was from the Shukra Chakia Misl, and how Ranjit Singh, in 1819 captured Kashmir, but Sikhs lost the Kashmir after the first Anglo-Sikh war because they were not able to pay the entire war indemnity for 75 lakh rupees. They sold Kashmir for 75 lakh rupees to Gulab Singh. So we covered that part also in after the first Anglo-Sikh war. So a separate treaty was there. The Treaty of Bhairovwal was signed to give the Kashmir, and then we discussed how after the second Anglo-Sikh war, ultimately John Lawrence became the first, commissioner. John Lawrence became the first chief commissioner of the Punjab area of the Sikh Empire. So till here we completed about the six. Then we discussed about the neighboring countries, where with Bhutan, Britishers got a very easy victory, as Bhutanese could not take care of their boundaries, and ill-defined borders were there. After getting in the area of Himalayas, Britishers, they had fight with Nepal, and Anglo-Nepal war. Ultimately, the Treaty of Sagauli was signed. So yes, the Gorkha Empire, they gave a lot of territories to Britishers, and they understood that they could not fight and sustain things against Britishers. So it was a great treaty. It was a great gain. So in this particular map, guys, you can see that the gray area from the Nepal was given to the Britishers after the Treaty of Sagauli in 1816. Look at this particular map. It's a very, very important map, right? So I hope you understood it here. Okay, I can see one question is there that Anantra Ram Kumar, you are asking that, ma'am, can you please start economy subject daily series? I'll ask the team to start it, no worries. I'll ask the team that they should start something like that, and we'll see that if they could do so with the economy faculty, and we'll ensure that if a daily series is there, then they will make it. So we covered the Anglo-Nepalese War, Anglo-Burmese relations, where we had seen that three Anglo-Burma wars were there: first, second, third, and ultimately after the third Burma War, they got Burma. And then we discussed about Anglo-Tibetan relations. The Chinese got the gains at the last moment. And then we discussed about the Anglo-Afghan wars. In the first Anglo-Afghan wars, Britishers lost a lot of men, more than 1.5 crore rupees, and 20,000 men they lost. Okay, John Lawrence and the policy of masterly inactivity was there. Okay, Clinton and the policy of proud reserve we discussed. Okay, then the second Anglo-Afghan war we covered, and the Treaty of Gandamak, it was in May 1879, was covered. Treaty of Gandamak, and it was the end of the Anglo-Afghan war when Ripon decided to make Afghan a buffer state, right? So we have covered everything, guys. All these topics, if you want to watch it again, you can just see it in the playlist, YouTube, and then all your doubts would be. So I hope, guys, this session was useful for you. I tried to cover a few of the most important doubts and wanted to interact with you guys live, and that's why I came here today. I'll just give you 2 more minutes to ask questions if you have still something in your mind, and if you feel like discussing it with me, let me know. Otherwise, we will just end this session 2 minutes. Okay, so you have 2 minutes. Think about the topics which we have covered till now, and then we will end the session. Okay. कुणाल वर्मा आपने पूछा है रिवीजन स्ट्रैटेजी के बारे में। कुणाल आप ये कर सकते हो कि मंडे टू सैटरडे आप कोई चीज़ पढ़ो, कोई बुक पढ़ो या कोई भी सब्जेक्ट अपना टाइम टेबल फॉलो करो, और संडे को कुछ भी नया मत पढ़ो। संडे को जितना आपने पूरे वीक पढ़ा है उसी को रिवाइज करो सिर्फ। फिर मंडे टू सैटरडे कुछ नया पढ़ना है एंड देन संडे को रिवाइज करना है। तो लाइक दिस, एक दिन चूज कर लो वीक में तो सिर्फ रिवीजन के लिए है, एंड उस दिन आप कुछ नया ना पढ़ के पूरे हफ्ते जितना जो जो पढ़ लिया है सिर्फ उसको रिवाइज करेंगे, याद करेंगे और उसका टेस्ट देंगे। ओके, मेक इट लाइक दिस। आई होप कुणाल योर डाउट इज क्लियर। Okay guys, so I feel like we can just end the session now. Fine. So thank you so much for watching guys. Thank you so much for coming. I'll see you guys again in the next class on Monday. So from Monday to Friday, this series is going to be there for you live every day at 8 p.m. So 8 o'clock, I'll see you guys again. See you then. Take care guys. Bye bye.